Okay. So, back for part two. Okay. So, so you see, you know, when I say when other lives met other lives, I'm talking about becoming aware of what else you are. How does the world turn for us? And how do we turn around for the world? You know, there was something in Iranian culture, you know, as a kid I remember every time you're back, let's say you sat in the driver passenger seat, okay, and the front passenger seat of a car, and imagine, like, I don't know, your grandmother or your grandpa was sitting in the back seat, okay, or something like that. In those situations, when a younger person's back is towards an older person's back, in Iranian culture, the younger person turns around and apologizes for his back being to the other. And similarly, I find that the human species needs to begin unsealing its heart and apologizing for having its back to the species. And it's okay, just do it very quickly. Put your palm, go to the park or something, go in nature, and this will revolutionize your karma. I'm telling you, whoever you are, going to nature and put your palm on some grassland, just as if you're touching the earth. And in some sense, put your palm on the earth, and in some sense, just say you will be victorious, for we are here. We are so advanced that we will not only protect all the species that are in this planet, on this planet, not only will the advanced civilization do that, well, not only will the advanced civilization be the most friendliest effort in the cosmos, we will be professional friendly creatures, even if there are interstellar audiences. Do you understand? If an alien comes and says something rude, we'll be like, hey man, be polite, you're in human territory. Honor the values of the simplicity that we acknowledge. Do you see? The most challenging thing, this is the biggest thing I'm wondering about extraterrestrial disclosure, that in some sense, are they allies or are they fools? There are two ideas. Anything that goes against the human species is such a big fool that greater dimensions will come and let them know. Anything that burdens the human species that is not human, oh, apologize and repent. Because this world has so much greater events in store. Do you know, sometimes I see it in my inner realms. I see how the futures will laugh at all the things that made us cry now. They will laugh. They'll be like, yo guys, you could have just done a 180. You know. And you know, what's interesting is that we all know the world doesn't end. Our world ends. Our inner realm leaves. That means the outer it can't really go anywhere else. You know, where else are the elements in the periodic table gonna go? It's either now or never or forever. That's a good title for a talk, by the way. Now or never or forever. And you know, guys, I think the reason I have found myself to care for the species is because this might be a bit of a hard thing to say, but because I felt that some part of the species, some part of the species doesn't care about me, and I don't care about some part of the species. And this was how my experience of Civilization 1.0 is. If it comes to the view of Civilization 1.0, I might not be a good example of a person living in Civilization 1.0. Because Civilization 1.0 is the past's success. Do you understand? It's like we haven't sat down and tried to reset the system. Do you understand? This is why I'm saying that the future of humanity, the saviors of humanity will be the most advanced designer teams. People were like, yo, you're a designer. It's like, man, this guy, but who knew that everything has design involved in it? Everything. Every field of knowledge is some sort of non-physical review of a physical geometrical event. Do you understand? When the religious person, they focus on the sixth entry, it was a geometrical existential event. Do you understand? It is only the mystic that is saying, hey, everybody, even though it appears we are in this world, but what if we are not from this world? What if there was a hidden meaning to when Christ said to be in the world but not of it? What does that mean, to be in the world but not of it? That means realize that the awareness to life is not the shape of the life. Just. And we're just beings. Like at the end of the day, we're all beings. Like there is no booklet. I don't want to say there is no booklet. But I would say that, believe it or not, I've tried to think that, is this like a puzzle? Where is it like a passcode, this life? You find the right passcode, you find the right wisdom, the right knowledge, the right views, does it open? And then I realized it's not a passcode. The reason this famous saying is known in the East, where they say seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave, is because the world is a cradle. You may think, even you might be a 90-year-old man on earth, and you may think that you're an old man. But you are a toddler when it comes to how ancient this world is, how ancient the efforts in this world is. And we don't see it. There's invisible institutions. And the way we can justify them is that there were advanced civilizations that went beyond the language threshold. There were civilizations that succeeded. That means there's a threshold. Imagine there's a door, and evolutionary-wise, all beings are trying to get through this door. In all civilizations, all species, everywhere. Okay, they're trying to get through this door. And so, this was something I noticed from another talk, that someone has made it through the door. Someone has gotten to the finish line. Some advanced civilization before us has got to the finish line. And that's why there is a future that can interact with us. And that explains how, in some sense, all the spiritual people are like, yo, this angel came to me and guided me in a moment of trouble. How can some being guide you? Guide you your future? Who knows your future? When they say everything started from God, everything goes back to God, it's another way of saying after the day of judgment, everybody's future self is God. God is the future self. That means it's like, for a religious person, in your past life, you were the will of the Creator. In your future life, you are the will of the Creator. And guess what you are now if you're religious? If you're religious, Swami Krishnanda says, this is true religiosity. Religion is God remembering himself. God is an inconceivable being. A religious person is remembering themselves through their inconceivable being. An inconceivable being cannot die. If you cannot die, the world has no meaning. If the world has no meaning, the world does not exist. If the world does not exist, what is the fundamental dehumanized hidden reality that we're all being broadcast from? In this world of gods and men, the unknown stands witnessing all there is. You are the unknown. You are the unknown. For what were you before you knew anything? And what will you be after you have known it all? The unknown reigns supreme until knowledge renders the divinity artificial. It's one human family, the ideas of us. It's like you need to be an idea when you're talking to people. You need to have an ego in order to go buy food and stuff. You need to be an individual. But the idea is that we've been individuals for a long time, and now we're wondering what else can happen. And so in the future there will come the era of collective mindhood. I'm writing about this in my sci-fi. Pretty much it's easier to be an object now, and slowly it's becoming easier to be a subject. So if your mind if your inner realms does not have the limitations of physical laws, since it appears as a simulation, that could be a proof of its simulated nature. That means I can visualize like a car floating in the air, but when I imagine I've closed my eyes and I'm visualizing a car floating in the air, but how come when I imagine while my eyes are closed and I'm imagining that car floating in the air, why doesn't gravity instantly act upon that car? Why don't the laws of the outer realms, why don't the laws of science in the outer realm apply to our inner realm? Why is it that our minds are showing us way more access to bizarre shapes than the outer realms? Do you understand? There were mystics back in the day, and let me tell you why it was so easy to become spiritual back in the day, to consider that. Because people had dreams. They're like, wait a minute, I sleep and then I see something out of nowhere and I wake up. How can I see when I'm sleeping? That's the bizarrity of the dream. How are you conscious when you are not? That's the mystery of the dream state. And in Vedic thought, there's something called Turiya. Turiya is the fourth state. It means you are neither an entity in the conscious waking state alone, you're neither an entity in the dream state, and you're neither the entity in deep sleep. You are where all three are taking place. It's as if we're logging into three games. The three games are in one computer. That one computer is called Turiya. But the three games are connected. So once you play one game, the second game starts. Then once you play the second game, the third game. Really, it's kind of like you need three strategies in life. Beginning, middle, end. Okay? The end, you don't know. The middle, you don't know if you're just beginning. If you're in the middle, you have a sense of the beginning. And pretty much this life, I have this view that nobody... there is so much information we're accessing that everybody we've thought is stupid is just people who can't bring what's in their subconscious into their conscious. The human brain is genius level performing. You don't know how advanced the inner realms are. The way your mind is working, the way your attention is to this world is more sophisticated than others. There may be foolish humans, but we are the most smartest species on this planet. That's unquestionable. So you are, right now, why do you think I keep saying advanced communicators? Because we're the most advanced communication of the universal sector that's observable right now. We are the observable ambassadors of the unobservable rest of the show. You are represent you every consciousness is an ambassador of the unknown. It's a representative. Every being that's individually existing, you're representing a collective space. And you know, I've been giving all these talks, and if somebody says Mr. Within, or they say Amin, you use the online alias Mr. Within, but is Mr. Within a being? Is Mr. Within like an entity that's talking to you, or like, doing all of this? And I will tell you, when I started off, I had an impression that I was like working with a transcendental agency, okay? But I began to realize that it's not shape bound. That means when you meet a being that is not limited to shape, that being can take any shape for you. Do you understand? This might sound bizarre, but you know how they would talk about shapeshifters? Shapeshifters make sense if either you're in a simulation or if you're not in the main room. Do you understand? So what that means is in my inner realms, we shapeshift any second anybody talks to us. You understand? Somebody gives you a compliment in your inner realms, you shapeshift, your ego. The ego is a shapeshifter, obviously, but the awareness to shape. See, when I say shape shifting, right? This has a weird connotation nowadays because of like some movies or whatever, right? But let me tell you what it is. The shapes shift in attention. My God, what is this? All right, guys, let's bring this to an end. So, interstellar diplomacy. So, pretty much